Concrete beam, video 7, calculation in the serviceability limit state, part 2. We now also want to design with respect to deflections. Maximum deflection for total load is now 15.45 mm for span 2. Suppose we can only accept 12 mm. We then once again select design options, but this time deflection limitation. This can also be performed using two different criteria with regard to part of the span length, for example the length divided by 300, or with respect to a fixed value. By selecting advanced settings, these values can also be varied for different spans, but we select a fixed value of 12 mm for all spans and calculate again. This time it will take quite some time for the iterative calculation to finish. If the criterion is impossible to fulfill, the calculation will be stopped and a message displayed. We now see that the maximum deflection is about 12 mm, but we also see that the reinforcement is heavily increased. The bottom reinforcement at span 2 has been increased from 11 to 33 bars. A rather high price to pay and an increase in the beam size would perhaps be preferable in this case. Finally, we will look at the possibility to affect the result in the serviceability limit state by altering the reinforcement manually. We first disable the crack width and deformation criteria previously defined. And then make a new design to restore the original result. A new calculation in the serviceability limit state shows a maximum deflection of 16.55 mm, slightly smaller than the original value because we this time did not curtail the reinforcement. We now select Increase Reinforcement and get a box in which the reinforcement can be changed, but only increased beyond what is required for bending. Also shown is the reinforcement required for bending. At the bottom, the total reinforcement and at the bottom, the total reinforcement with respect to any changes made. We chose to increase the bottom reinforcement for span 2 from 11 to 20 bars. And make a new calculation, but this time only in the serviceability limit state. We see that the deflection now decreases to 14 mm. The result in serviceability limit state can thus be affected by criteria for crack widths and deflections, or by increasing the reinforcement manually beyond what is required in the ultimate limit state. The total reinforcement after any manual changes is also shown as tables under the option Tables Total Reinforcement. Finally, when we are pleased with the results, we want to make a printout.